Hello my lovely Padawans, and welcome to all of you Yu-Gi-Oh fans. Today I will be showing you a deck profile of my Krawler deck for the month of March 2018. Now I didn't make a profile of this deck for February because I was a bit busy and there wasn't really much things to add. But as it is now, it's way better than the one that I showed you, I think, in January. So, starting off with ya boy, Krawler Spine, pretty much your monster destruction of the deck. It flips up, and it lets you select and destroy a monster on the field. And all the main deck Krawlers have the same effect if they are face up and destroyed by a effect, opponent's effect. They will special summon 2 Krawler monsters from your deck with different names in face down defense position. Then we have Krawler Axon. He's pretty much the mystical, the MST of your of your deck. Then we have Krawler Gleo. He is the extra special summon from your hand or the monster reborn of the deck, depends on what you want. If you want to swarm the field faster, when you flip this guy you can special summon another Krawler from your hand, or if you have some Krawler link monsters in your graveyard, you can special summon them back on the field. 3 Krawler Receptors. This guy is pretty much the Rota of the deck. He lets you search for any Krawler monster from your deck and get it into your hand. 2 Dendrites. I used to run 3, but I kinda don't like that anymore. I mean, you can run 3, but I feel more comfortable with running just the 2 of them. But they pretty much are the Foolish Berry of the deck. When they're flipped, they let you send any monster from your deck to the graveyard. So that can work with a lot of things. You can make this deck a lot of really versatile, because you can get monsters that trigger when sent into the graveyard. Then I have 2 copies of, this guy's name can't be seen on the camera well, World Legacy World Armor. So he pretty much, when a monster is flip summoned, now flip summoned, not flipped, whenever that happens, during whichever turn, obviously whichever player's monster is flip summoned, this guy's effect triggers and you can special summon him from the hand. And when he's normal or special summon from the hand, you can search your deck for any card that has World Legacy in its name. So in my case, that's my field spell and my trap for the Krawlers. Then we have 2 copies of Tindango Angel. He is a flip monster, so that works with the field spell of the Krawlers. He's level 4, unlike the rest of the cards, excluding World Armor. But he's really nice because his flip effect is that when he gets flipped, you can special summon a monster from your hand or graveyard. So he's pretty much like another Gleo, right? But if that effect is activated during your opponent's battle phase, that battle phase ends. So he's like a Gleo, but also a battle fader. Of course, he will be destroyed, but you can also trigger him. You can flip him with your trap and prevent him from being destroyed. But if he's destroyed, then the field will also again send the opponent's monster in their graveyard. Then last, for the monster lineup, we have 2 effect Veilers, which I don't count as monsters, but there are 20 in total, so that's 18 plus 2 hand traps. So the structure of the monsters is finished. The only thing that I need to do is, of course, someday replace the Veilers with some better hand traps. Ash Blossom, maybe. An Ash and a Ghost Ogre for 2 Ashes. Anyway, on to the spells. We have 10 spell cards, starting with 3 copies of World Legacy in Shadow. That's the field spell for the Krawlers. It's pretty much self-explanatory. It does 3 things. It boosts up your Krawlers with 300 attack and defense. It lets you have an extra special summon in face-up defense or face-down defense monster, a Krawler monster, not even Krawler monster, a level 2 or lower insect monster from your hand. So you can do any level 2 or lower insects, it doesn't have to be Crawlers. And when a flip monster on your field is destroyed by battle, the monster that destroyed it is sent to the graveyard. Doesn't target, doesn't destroy. So, since we have a field spell in this deck, we need means to find that field spell. Since we have crazy monsters, we need means to bring them back. And even, as an option, we can get monsters from the opponent's graveyard. Haha, Monster Reborn, you cheeky bastard. Since we might occasionally start first, the optimal thing for Crawlers is to be first. And if you open with this guy and 2 other Crawlers, you can pretty much end up with 2 Link monsters and 6,000 life points. 1 Cosmic Cyclone. I have more Spell and Trap Destruction in the side deck, so that can be sided against cards that are more back row heavy, like Pendulum decks, I guess. But I run 1 because I have Krawler Axon, which is pretty much basically 3 MSTs, which can bounce back and forth from the grave onto the field, and that can make up to way more than 4 MSTs. Then 1 Wormbait, that's the newest edition. It's from the newest Legendary Duelist set. It pretty much lets you special summon 2 level 1 Earth insect tokens with attack 0 and defense 0. You just have to have an insect on the field. So this is a free Link monster. Not the better Krawler, but one of the other 2s. Then we have 1 United We Stand for that extra attack boost, and that is for this spell lineup. Onto the trap cards, we have the main trap is World Legacy Pawns. So I used to run 3 a long time ago, but 3 is a bit too cloggy. 2, on the other hand, is great. You can search it with World Arms. You can obviously draw it normally. But it has 2 effects, and you can only use either of them once per turn. So having 3 copies for pretty much such a limited amount of uses for your effects is not great. But its effects are once per turn. You can either flip a face-down monster face-up, or you can send a monster from your graveyard to your deck and flip a face-up monster into face-down defense position. Now, let's go into negation. Recall. Now, Recall is pretty much your solemn strike of the deck. It's a budgety one, of course. Eventually, this will be Solemn Strike. It negates an effect. It negates a monster effect and destroys it, and then your opponent draws a card. So, if you do something good, which will help you, and they ash it, you're gonna recall it, and they will be sad, because a minimum price card is gonna beat a maximum price card. I also run 1 Dark Bribe for spell and trap negation. It does the same thing like Recall, but it negates spells and trap, and then the opponent draws a card. We have Floodgate Trap Hole. It's in German, but that doesn't matter. It pretty much whenever your opponent summons monster or monsters, they are turned to face down defense position. They cannot change their battle phase in any means, and pretty much you can really screw up your opponent's plays, especially if you're playing against a pendulum user and they pendulum summon, and they will pretty much give up instantly. 1 Bottomless Trap Hole. Then we have 1 Storming Mirror Force to bounce annoying stuff. Mirror Force, an attack nobody expects. Magic Cylinder. It can protect you from 1 attack and will deal damage. Will deal the crazy damage you would take. My phone doesn't want to focus. To your opponent. So that's nice. Nobody expects that, really. Now, on to the side deck before we go into the extra deck. So for monsters in the side deck, I use Lava Golem, because that's a kaiju. Doomdozer, if I feel that my opponent can dish out strong monsters fast, this will help me dish out a strong monster fast as well. You just need to banish 2 insects from the graveyard, and when this guy deals damage, the top card of your opponent's deck gets sent to the graveyard. Aroma Jar. Why Aroma Jar? And this is a very old Aroma Jar. It's very used up, but it still works. So Aroma Jar is, first of all, it's a flip monster. So even if your opponent negates its effect, and its effect pretty much makes it indestructible by battle, if they negate its effect and destroy it, the field spell will trigger again, because of course it's a flip monster. But pretty much you set this guy, the opponent attacks it, it gets flipped up, and it cannot be destroyed by battle. And during the end phase of each player's turn, you, the user of this card, gain 500 life points. So it is a great, great stall card. Now, for spells, Trap Hole, double MSTs, because as I said, if you feel that your opponent is really back row heavy, you can go into these guys. 1 Goat Sarcophagus, if you feel the need to get something faster. Book of Moon, to make more effects of your monsters, because if you end up using your if you end your turn with your monster face up at the opponent's draw or standby phase, you can flip it face down, boom, you get its effect back. 1 Supply Squad, because why not? 1 Boom Mirror Shear, because that shit is OP as, you know. 1 Mage Power, if you would rely on back row, and regardless of the situation, you always have at least 1 other spell or trap on the field with Mage Power, so that's 1000 attack boost on 1 monster. 1 United We Stand, because your opponent, first of all, they won't expect 1 of these, and they will regret seeing 2 of these. Then 1 D-Barrier, 1 Bottomless Trap Hole, and 1 Torrential Tribute. So that's for the side deck, and now on to the extra deck, where the fun begins. Right. We run 3 copies of Krawler Qualiarch. That's your main link for crawlers. It is down left and down right link points, which is nice. And it does 3 things. 4 actually. First of all, just like the other 2 link monsters, whenever it leaves the field, it will special summon 2 crawler monsters from your graveyard in face down defense position. Second of all, when you have 2 or more crawlers on the field, his first of these little effects here activates, all of your monsters gain 300 attack and defense points. If you have 4 or more crawlers on the field, they pretty much become utopias, meaning that your opponent cannot activate any cards or effects during the battle phase. And if you have 6 crawlers on the field, which is not impossible, you can attack your opponent directly, which is great. And we have Neurogus. So Neurogus is your way to spread out on the field, because he has left and right link points. And he does 2 things. First of all, he protects any crawler monsters it points to from battle destruction, and it lets them inflict double battle damage against your opponent's monsters. Then we have Krawler Synaphysis. So, just like Neurogus, he points left and right and protects crawler monsters, and also gives them a 300 attack and defense boost, just like Neurogus. But what this guy does for your crawlers is that they can make 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase. So you pretty much get these guys pointing at each other, and you're golden. You're actually golden. Right, so these are the links for the crawlers. Then we have 1 Subterror Behemoth Fiendus. It requires 2 link monsters and is just like Qualiarch, so if your opponent manages to get rid of all of your Qualiarchs from your extra deck, you can still go into this guy, and he's still very beefy. He's a Link 2 for 2000, and he just needs flip monsters, and you have a lot of flip monsters. Then one Proxy Dragon, one Binary Sorceress. I don't feel like I need to explain these guys, but one Trigate, because he's dank. If you get to pull him in crawlers, he can do some dank things. One Decode Talker as, you know, my second Link 3. And last but not least, a rank 2, the Phantom Knights of Curse Javelin. Why? Because he can, if he is allowed to, he can get over any monster your opponent has, any huge monster, because he negates their effect and makes their attack 0. And this guy with his little 1600 attack can get over pretty much anything if he has the opportunity. So yeah, I do hope you enjoyed this deck profile, my lovely Padawans. I will be making one probably next month if something newer gets out. But all in all, I just need to pretty much the deck is pretty much done with some minor tweaks. I can replace the Binary Sorceress with a Mrs. Radiant. That will help a lot. And probably the Trigate with a higher Link, which is unlikely, or a Herald of Pure Light, the another rank 2 Xyz. And of course for the main deck we can replace the negation traps with Solemns, the hand traps with the hand traps. But all in all, the deck is almost complete, like 95, 6, 7% complete. And it works fine, and it is really, really fun to play. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to build up crawlers, do it. They're fun and they're cheap, so anyone can play them. I will see you next time, and may the Force be with you.